Yo, what's going on, guys? This is Houston Sports Type back into the video today. And today, the Denver Broncos announced that they are benching quarterback Russell Wilson and most likely parting ways from the QB in March. This is surprising news. I mean, it's not surprising to me that the Broncos are planning on moving from Russell Wilson in March. I thought if they were going to move on from him, they would try to trade him instead of cutting him. We'll see. I think when it comes around March, I think it's going to kind of be like Derek Carr. Like last offseason, the Saints were maybe going to try to cut Derek Carr. It was looking like they were going to maybe cut him, or they were going to try to trade him. I think they ended up cutting him, but I'm not 100% sure. But my point is they explored both options. I think this is probably what the Broncos will do. That doesn't surprise me. What surprised me is that the Broncos are benching Russ, who, yes, got off to a rough start in the Patriots game on Sunday night. But I thought, obviously they got off to a rough start and then they made that comeback. I thought he looked pretty good, when they made that comeback, when they tied it up to 23. I thought he was making better throws. I thought he was looking better. But this is not about this benching. It's not about performance. It's about contract. And they know that there's something with the contract that they won't have to pay him as much as money if he doesn't play. I think they don't have to pay him as much as money if he doesn't play these final two games. I don't really understand contract wise why they don't want him. It's money. The reason is money is why they don't want him to play in these final two games. But if someone knows the exact details, like full details, explain in the comment section. But with the loss against the Patriots, you only have a 1.4% chance to make the playoffs. Let's explain what would have to happen for the Broncos to make the playoffs still, with Jarrett Stidham now starting in these last two games for the Denver Broncos. So, you need to win. First, you need to win against the Chargers this week. You play the Chargers in Easton Stick. I think even without Russell Wilson, I think you should be able to beat the Chargers. But you should have been able to beat the Patriots. You couldn't do that. Let's see what happens with the Chargers. You got to beat the Chargers, and then you have to have the Chiefs lose to the Bengals. Listen, I mean, I didn't think the Chiefs would lose to the Raiders with the way Patrick Mahomes is playing right now. I could definitely see the Chiefs losing to the Bengals. But this is where it gets more tricky. You also have to have the Chiefs lose to the Los Angeles Chargers as well in Week 18. I don't see that. I don't think the Chiefs will lose to the Bengals, but I can see it happening. Now, as to the Chargers, yes, the Chargers just competed with the Bills. They almost beat the Bills. I don't see the Chargers beating the Chiefs, although it could happen. For sure, anything could happen. But if the Chiefs lose the final two games, and then the Broncos win their last game, or their second last game against the Chargers, if the Broncos win on Sunday against the Chargers and the Chiefs lose their last two games, then the Week 18 matchup for the Denver Broncos and the Las Vegas Raiders would be the AFC West title. Then if the Broncos beat the Raiders in Week 18, you get in the playoffs. But you have to have a lot to happen. You have the Chiefs, who are struggling right now, and they're going to come back and try to, get out of this slump they're in right now. I could see them losing maybe one out of the last two. I do not see them losing their last two games. And you got to beat the Chargers. You also got to beat the Raiders. I don't think they can. I think they can beat the Chargers without Russell Wilson, but I don't think they can beat the Raiders without Russell Wilson. But who knows? I mean, that Raiders game, if all this were to happen, that title game would actually be a really fun game, because that title game would end up being a revenge game for Jarrett Stidham, who started the last 2 or 3 games last season at the end of the year in just the same situation he's dealing with right now. This is the same exact thing Jarrett Stidham went through last year. Last year, he was on the Raiders, and last two games of the season, Derek Carr got benched. And after the last 2 games of the season, Derek Carr got benched. Jarrett Stidham started the last 2 games. And they benched Carr and were planning on cutting him in March or trading him in March. Now, a year later, Stidham on the Broncos, same division. 2 games left on the season. Russell Wilson gets benched and is being there. The Broncos are planning on cutting or trading him in March. Stidham is starting in the final 2 games, and I believe when he came in with the Raiders, when he came in last year with the Raiders, and for the final 2 games, I'm pretty sure they had a 1-something% chance to make the playoffs. I don't know. I don't think it was 1.4 like it was for the Broncos. I think it might have been 1.3 or 1.5. That doesn't really matter. But this is the same situation Stidham was in last year. And when he came in, he played against the Chiefs. He played against the 49ers. He looked well. He played really well. And that's what got him a pretty decent contract with the Denver Broncos. So let's see what he can do now, going up against the Chargers on Sunday, and then his former team a week from next Sunday against the Raiders. Let me know your thoughts on the benching of Russell Wilson, who's thrown for over 3,000 passing yards this season, 26 passing touchdowns, has thrown 8 interceptions, has ran for over 250 rushing yards with 3 rushing touchdowns this year, and has led the Broncos to a 7-8 record. Let me know your thoughts on the benching, and peace out.